two options. And the reason why we're continually coming back to presence is because we all have these habit loops. Okay, we have our identity, which is built upon beliefs that are programmed into us, subconscious beliefs, most of them, hundreds of them are programmed into us from when we are children, from our parents, from schools, from society. We don't necessarily choose these beliefs. They just happen. Some of them serve us, but a lot of them don't. And what happens is we have this habit loop. I'll get that back up actually. And so you'll see on here, what will happen is you'll get an event or a trigger, and then subsequently you'll get a response, and then you'll get a constriction around. I'll give you an example in a second. You'll get a constriction around the identity-based interpretation of that response. And then you will select data that confirms the beliefs that are in you. And then you will justify your actions based on your attachments and your aversions, and you'll come to the same habitual, predictable action, and you'll come back to the same thing, and you'll get the same results. Okay. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. So if you're in a group situation and someone stops speaking and there's this awkward silence, and you start getting this narrative response where you might start feeling a bit like, you know, the funny feeling in your stomach, or the funny feeling in your chest, or this tension, your vision almost starts constricting, this nervousness, and you think, if I don't say something now, people are going to think I'm weak, or I'm not competent. Or you might get this idea, oh, other people are feeling awkward. I don't like it when other people feel awkward. This is my role, is to make sure that everyone feels okay. And so you'll hurry to, in fact, then you will have this identity-based constriction, and then you'll have this selective perception and filtering around this belief, where you may see other people who speak during these silent moments as competent, and you may filter out the fact that actually silence is a sign of authority. People who are comfortable in silence is a sign of authority, and actually the silence that exists is an opportunity for people to process and think. So you start filtering it out, and because you've got this idea in your head. And so what happens next is your mind steps in, and it says, okay, I want to be seen as competent. I don't want to be seen as passive. And so you act from this same built construction, and you talk quickly. You jump in and you say something so that it doesn't remain in silence, so that no one else feels awkward. And this is a pattern that you will then see play out every time you're in a conversation and there's silence. You'll just, these people who will always speak, and they can't have silence. I mean, I've been there. And so this is how a habit loop happens, and we have so many of these habits. And the reason why this mindfulness is this new loop that I'm proposing, that is part of this coaching process, is about self-generation. Okay. And this is something that, if we adapt, we understand, and we make it part of our life, it will be there forever. You become someone who is self-generating, and it compounds and it compounds and it compounds. And 2-3 years down the line, you start seeing it completely change your life. So the self-generative loop is where the same evolving situation happens. You see the story and the narrative that comes, but through this beginning process of self-observation, which is what we're doing in awareness practices, is we're going, there is discomfort, there is an itchy sensation, there is a tightness in my throat, there is sadness. Not I am, We're beginning to have this curiosity and this neutrality that we're start. Obviously, when we're early on in this stage, we get consumed by it. Not even when you're early on, even when you're advanced, you fall into these things. But what happens over time is you can start to return to the neutrality. And when you have this self-observation phase, you will retrospectively, at the end of the day, start to see, oh, there's a pattern there. I'm always jumping in. I'm always feeling awkward when there's silence. And that'll be retrospective in the initial moment. The next phase is you get realization in the moment. So you'll be in the moment, there will be silence, and you will realize, oh, I'm feeling like I want to say something to break this silence. Or I'm feeling like I want to, like someone crosses you on the road and you always road rage. You always swear at the injustice of someone cutting you up in front of you. Okay. But you'll have this moment where you'll go, ooh, ooh, it's coming up. And you might choose to do the same thing. You might choose to swear at the driver. You might choose to break the silence. But that is huge because you brought awareness to it. And from that awareness is where a new choice can be built, can come from. And that's the next stage of reorganization where you say, do you know what? What do I need to do to make a different choice? And next time, or one of the next times, you'll say, I'm just going to breathe for 10 seconds. I'm just going to look up at the sky and just do my box breathing. You choose to do a different behavior and you start to break that habit loop. And this self-generative loop compounds. The next phase is stabilization, where you repeatedly start doing that new, healthier habit over and over again and until it becomes natural. And that's called stabilization. So I just wanted to share that because hopefully it's another reason for you to kind of understand why these. I know it can be really like, especially when you're going through a difficult time, you're like, the last thing I want to do is meditate and focus on how shit I'm feeling. But when you remind yourself it's about this curiosity and that this is a habit that compounds over time. And particularly when we start framing things with a bit of journaling and start focusing on where our growth is and how we're growing and what positives have there been within this difficult period, like Leon acting in the face of fear and getting the benefits from it so easily can turn inwards. In fact, a lot of us do sometimes. We turn inwards and we just say no. But life rewards courage. It always does.